calendar, a complex combination timekeeping method that includes the moon's orbit around the Earth and the Earth's 365-day orbit around the sun, and accomplished by adding a 13th month to the traditional calendar about once every 3 years. And
whereas the traditional, commonly known Lunar New Year calendar celebrations begin Lunar New Year's Eve and end the 15th day of the first lunar month, also known as the Lantern Festival, while the public holiday is celebrated this year from the Chinese New Year's Eve, January 31st, to February 15th, and whereas the New Year is celebrated uniquely within the many different Asian countries, but regardless of the country, culture, religion, or race, New Year's Day is a time for family reunions, gathering, reflections, and reaffirming bonds, and
whereas the Chinese calendar includes the Chinese zodiac, or Cheng Chiao, a repeating 12-year cycle of animal signs and their ascribed attributes based on the lunar calendar, and whereas Chinese legend has it that the Jade Emperor summoned all the animals to his palace in a great race, or possibly for a banquet, stating the order in which they would arrive would determine the animal's place in the zodiac, and that the ox was about to be the first to arrive, but Rat tricked Ox into giving him a ride, and as they arrived, the rat jumped down and landed ahead of the ox. Thus, ox became the second animal, and
whereas the Spring Festival Lunar New Year marks the transition from one animal to the next, with January 31st ending the year of the ox, and February 1st signaling the start of the new year, the year of the tiger. And whereas in Chinese culture, tigers are symbols of dignity, ferocity, sternness, courage, and by itself is yin energy. Now, therefore, we, the Town Council of the Town of Amherst, do hereby proclaim February 1st, 2022 as the beginning of the Spring Festival and urge all residents to join the 15-day celebration of the Year of the Tiger, beginning with the celebration of the reading of the town's Spring Festival Lunar New Year celebration proclamation. We're doing this on Wednesday, February 9th at 6:30 p.m. and are glad that you could join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so now we're going to move on to, let's see, share screen here. The zodiac signs, but actually I don't know. I have to stop for a moment so that I can make sure that the volume is included. Wait a second. Sorry about that. Can everyone hear and see?
Yes.
Long ago, the Jade Emperor, ruler of the heavens, devised a new way to count the years. He created a calendar based on a 12-year cycle that would grant humanity the power to measure time. In celebration, he summoned the animals of the world to a great race. They were tasked with crossing a wide river, and as a reward, the years of the calendar would be named after them, in the order in which they arrived. Among those who answered the call were the dragon, the tiger, the snake, the horse, the ox, the dog, the monkey, the rabbit, the goat, the rooster, the pig, the cat, and the mouse. The race began at dawn. In those days, the cat and the mouse were the best of friends, and they were both poor swimmers. They convinced the patient ox to allow them to ride on his back. "Take us with you," they said, "and we will show you the way." When they neared the opposite shore, the mouse pushed the cat into the water. Then, at the last moment, the rat leapt off the ox's head and landed on the wet dirt. This is how the cunning mouse became the first animal of the lunar calendar. Though disappointed, the dependable ox was able to capture the second position. In third place came the tiger, who, while fast on land, had trouble fighting the river currents. Soon after came the rabbit, who had nearly drowned. To cross the river, he had hopped from stone to stone, but slipped at the final moment. He was able to hold on to a fallen tree branch until a gust of wind pushed him onto the shore. Soon after, a large shadow was cast over the riverbank. It was the fearless dragon, there to claim the fifth position. This surprised the emperor. How does one as swift and as brave as you arrive in fifth place? On my approach, I discovered villagers suffering a terrible drought, and so I stopped to make rain for them. Then, I discovered a little rabbit clinging to a tree branch and sent a gust of wind to push him to the shore. At this, the emperor was greatly pleased and welcomed the dragon to his rightful spot. Soon after came the sound of hooves, signaling the arrival of the horse. However, the clever snake had hidden himself in the horse's mane and jumped to the ground once safely across. This startled the horse, allowing the snake to capture the sixth position. The horse finished seventh. The next three positions were awarded to the goat, the monkey, and the rooster. At the start of the race, the observant rooster had noticed an abandoned raft behind tall blades of grass. However, knowing that he would not be able to cross the river on his own, he invited the monkey and the goat to help. Moved by the goat's kind nature, the other animals allowed her to finish eighth, followed by the happy monkey and the hard-working rooster. In 11th place came the playful dog. Although an excellent swimmer, he spent much of the race frolicking in the water. Finally, in 12th place was the honest pig. He had gotten hungry and stopped to eat, and then taken a long nap. When he awoke, he floated across the river on his belly. "Congratulations, pig," said the emperor. "I have saved for you the final spot on my calendar." And with that, the years of the Chinese zodiac were decided. When people are born, they are said to inherit the personality traits and compatibilities of their own animal sign. As for the cat, he finally made it across the river, but not in time to secure a place on the calendar. That is why, to this day, cats and mice are mortal enemies.
I really enjoyed that story, especially the connection with the cat and the mouse.
But you know, the snake is considered the little dragon by the Chinese. As being a dragon baby is you've become a leader or whatever. But
Okay. So I don't, if people would like to take a look to see where they fall on the calendar, I can put it back up on the website, back up. And you can find your year here and your animal at the top. So they have a snake and a dragon.
it's my daughter and I are the same animal, the year of the pig, because we're born 24 years apart.
I am the year of the tiger. So I feel,
This is your year.
fascinating
Oh.
right now. This is my year.
Mhm.
Jennifer. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm the monkey. So I'm not.
Anna.
I am year of the horse.
And Mandy Jo,
A snake.
Lynn,
It's cool, Mandy Jo. I'll give you red.
I'm the year of the pig.
Me too, see?
okay, look at that. And Tenzin,
I'm the year of the pig.
oh, look at that.
Bunch of us.
Yeah, Philip,
I'm the year of the monkey.
okay.
Okay.
And Lily,
I love mine. I'm the cute rabbit.
very nice. And Sid,
Yeah, the rabbit and the hare.
okay. Excellent. Excellent. So we have a lot of pigs. Does anybody know the qualities of the pig? Andrea?
Yeah, it, kind of like steadfast, was one of the qualities, and also, just watch other people and let them do it and then do yours. I mean, it's there's a stubbornness about us, but we don't hurt people. So
Yes. And so here we have the personality and the characteristics of the tiger. Are people who born in the year of the tiger are born leaders who walk and talk assertively and inspire respect. They are courageous and energetic, love a challenge or competition, and they are prepared to take risks. They are hungry for excitement and crave attention, and they can also be rebellious, short-tempered, and outspoken, preferring to give orders rather than take them, which often leads to conflict. Tiger people appear calm, but there is often a hidden aggressiveness, but they can also be sensitive, humorous, capable of great generosity and love. And there is never a dull moment with the tiger. I think that fits me pretty well. I don't know. And so now I'm going to hand things over to Pastor Lily, and she will explain the legend of Nian.
Okay. Once again, hello everyone. As Jennifer has introduced me, my name is Lily So. I'm one of the pastors at First Baptist Church in Amherst, the church that is right across the street from UMass. So that's where I'm from. And today at this point, I want to tell the story of Nian. How many of you know the story of Nian? Can you raise your hands so that I would know? Yeah, maybe about 3 persons. So I'm glad, because then it makes the story a little bit more exciting. I just want to, well, I made the first PowerPoint, so I thought I'll share it, so not to waste it, right? So here I have a little picture. If you go to into the internet and all that, you'll see like different pictures of Nian. This one looks a little cute, but actually in reality, he's not cute, okay? He's not that lovable either. So let me just share the story with every one of us. It's a myth, it's a legend. So all of us know that if it's a myth, it's a legend, it's probably not true. But all of us love a good story. We all love a fairy tale. So we love a happy ending, right? So in China, the Chinese New Year is the oldest traditional festival. And many existing customs and activities of the Chinese New Year can be traced back to a very popular story of the beast, Nian, called Nian. Nian in Chinese also is the same sound. It means year. So the story will help to explain why and how the festival is celebrated. Now, in ancient times, there was a ferocious beast named Nian. He had sharp teeth and horns. This beast would seclude itself in a dark sea for a long time. But it would go onshore by the end of the Lunar New Year to hunt for people and livestock for food. Therefore, every time before the New Year's Eve, all the villages would escape to remote mountains so as to avoid Nian's attack. Things took a turn one New Year's Eve. As the villagers were scrambling to run to the mountains, the village welcomed an interesting old man. He had silver hair and bright, piercing eyes. He was dressed in rags and looked like a beggar. With the soon coming of Nian, the villagers had no time to waste. With great panic, they frantically shuttered their doors and their windows, and they packed their food, parcels, and necessities. Everything in the village was in a state of chaos, and no one really cared about this old man who just walked into the village. But there was an old granny from the east side of the village. She saw the old man, and she came to him and had compassion upon him and gave him some food. She told him what was happening and persuaded him to flee together with them to the mountains. However, the old man was strangely calm. He requested to stay a night in the old grandmother's house. And he said that in return, I can cast out that beast. The granny, of course, didn't believe him at all. And she continued to persuade him to flee with them. However, the old man was resolute. He did not change his mind. So the old woman left with the villagers for the mountains without him. Now at midnight, the beast came charging into the village. But it sensed that this time there was a change in the atmosphere. In the past, the entire village would be in complete darkness. But this time, the house in the east was lighted up. Approaching the house slowly, Nian was really curious. And when he came to the house, he found all the doors and the windows were pasted with red scrolls, red papers, and many candles were lit inside the house. The beast started to tremble and cry out when he saw the strange, unusual sight. In great rage, it charged toward the front door. And at that very moment, there was loud crackling sounds that burst forth in the courtyard. It totally freaked out the beast, and he didn't dare go any closer. The front door suddenly opened in a flash, and the old man came out. He was dressed in a red robe, and he roared loudly with laughter. Ha 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 ha! Wow, really loud. And the beast Nian was greatly frightened, and he fled into the night. The next day, the villagers returned to their village. They were surprised at what they saw. The whole village remained intact. Nothing was destroyed. At that moment, the old granny remembered what the old man told her. She hastened to all the villagers and told them excitedly what he had said to her. To find out the truth, all the people ran to the old grandmother's house. They found the red papers, the red scrolls pasted on doors and windows, candles in the house, and burnt bamboo in the courtyard. It dawned on the villagers that the loud crackling sounds of burning bamboo, the bright red color, and the light from the candles were magic keys to scare away the beast. The whole village gathered to celebrate the triumph over the beast. They dressed in new clothes and visited with one another in joyful celebration. From then on every New Year's Eve, people would paste red scrolls, red papers on their windows and doors. They would light candles, and they would burn bamboos to keep the beast away. Now, the burning bamboos in time were replaced by fireworks. It's all banned right now, but in some remote parts of China, you can still see people practicing and playing with firecrackers, fireworks. The entire village would be completely lighted up, and villagers would stay awake on the eve to welcome the new year. Now, many of the traditions are still practiced today. The Chinese New Year is also called 过年, and 过年 means surviving the Nian's attack. Today, red color is still a very popular color for festival celebration and dress code. This is the story of the myth of Nian.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lily. That was wonderful. And I loved your looking at your excitement as you read or as you told the story. That was very helpful. Could you tell us a little bit about some Lunar New Year traditions?
Absolutely. So we were talking about, like at the very beginning, we were talking about the red packets that the little children will receive, right? In some cultures and traditions, even adults who are single would still get these red packets. They are meant for like prosperity, for good luck, and for well-being of the person. So I have with me personally these beautiful red packets. They're beautiful. So I kept them. I almost didn't want to, like, I don't want to use them, you know, because they're so beautiful. Look at them. They're just beautiful. So I brought some with me. And I was thinking that if some people would get married, they would invite me. That's why I'm going to give them a little gift in a little packet. So let me explain and briefly a little bit about some traditional traditions of the Chinese New Year. So let me share screen, okay? And let me know if you have questions. So I'll be glad to answer them. So this is Nian. So the origins of Chinese New Year, we talked about this earlier, and I'm not going to belabor the point, but it's also called the Spring Festival in China because it's the start of blooming flowers and plants and all that. So it's the start of spring. So it's a beautiful time where new life comes alive. So so Chinese New Year is called Spring Festival. So we know that it started in the Shang Dynasty in the 14th century BC, and it started because of the celebration of harvest. People wanted to celebrate harvest, and they were grateful and thankful, and they would worship their gods in thanksgiving for the harvest. So that's how Chinese New Year started. So let me share with you a few Chinese phrases, like for those who celebrate Chinese New Year. So we would go to one another's house or visit family during Chinese New Year, and we would say 新年好. Now 新年好 means good New Year to you, a new year ahead that it will be good for you. It will be good and wonderful and peaceful. Or you might say 新年快乐, Happy New Year, 新年快乐. Or you might say 恭喜发财. Hey, I'm wishing you a prosperous new year. So they're all good greetings. So when you go to somebody's house, that's what you'll say, 新年好, 新年快乐, 恭喜发财. So that's what you will say. And then the person will respond, yes, 恭喜发财, and they would greet you back in return. Now, we were talking about the story of Nian, right? And so we were talking about those red papers. In the olden days, where it was more simple and people lived in villages and people lived simple lives, it was basically just plain red color, you know, like this, plain red paper. But now it's sophisticated. They come with different designs and all that, and people still put it over their door above and on the sides. So these are the red papers that that are still part of the tradition. And what are the Chinese words that you see on both sides and in the center? Basically, it means fu. Fu means prosperity. May you're coming in and you're going out. It's no longer something to scare away the monster. In the past, it was just red paper, but now there are like writings on those red papers, and those writings are good. They're like saying, may your coming in and going out be safe, be peaceful, may you be prosperous, may you be happy. So they just kind of write good stuff on those papers now. So people still put them on the walls. Now, what do people eat for the Chinese New Year Eve, especially? In the north of China, in the south of China, some of the Chinese would eat what they call the hot pot. Maybe some of you have tried a hot pot before, huh? Yeah. Some Chinese in different countries, they still do the same thing. And can you see the big hot pot in the middle? It's round. The shape is round. There is a significance to this. Why are they eating the hot pot? Because family, just as we were talking earlier, people travel all over from their back to their village in China to spend Chinese New Year with their family. And the round pot actually means reunion. We are reunited with family, and there's love, there's celebration, there's precious good times. So people would eat hot pot together. So that's one of the foods that would be eaten. And in the north of China, they eat this. It's called the Chinese dumplings. How many of you tried this before? It's pretty delicious. You can put different fillings on the inside. Some people put seafood, some people put pork, beef. I've heard from one of my Chinese friends in China that they can have 200 over different types of fillings that you can put inside a dumpling. So it depends on what you want to eat. So the north, they would eat dumplings. And why? Because if you look at the shape of the dumplings, it looks like Chinese ingots. They're gold, pieces of gold. So when they eat that, they're wishing luck, they're wishing prosperity upon themselves because it has the shape of the gold ingots. That's what it is. Okay, and this is one of my favorite Chinese New Year soups that my mother makes every New Year. It has really good stuff. Abalone. Abalone, if some of you are familiar with that, is a seafood. If you look at those round, well, it's hard for me to point to it right now, but there is fish maw. Fish maw is actually, may sound gross to some of you, is fish stomach, but it tastes so good. It tastes like heaven. And vegetables and meat and fish balls, all kinds of stuff in that. So that's what I have in my family as a traditional Chinese New Year soup. Now, Chinese New Year, when you go greet your family and your friends, and when you celebrate New Year, you want the year ahead to be sweet, to be full of blessing, to be full of goodness and prosperity. So can you see a lot of sweets that are there because they just want your year to be full of sweetness. And on the bottom right, on the right, you see red melon seeds. Why is it red? Okay, the same story of Nian, the red color that would ward away the beast and bring blessings and prosperity. And seeds are usually fertility because seeds would grow into plants, they would grow into fruit. So it actually means fertility. So, yep, good stuff, a lot of snacks. So these are other kinds of snacks that are on the shelf, on sale in Asia, in places where Chinese people celebrate the New Year. If you're in California or in bigger cities, in Costco and all that, they have a lot of these goodies on sale. Okay, now this one, Chinese New Year, another tradition, another legend is that there is something called the kitchen god. So who is this kitchen god? In the Chinese worship quite a few gods. Not every Chinese, because I don't. But when I was growing up, my grandma did. So there is a lot of different idols and gods that people would worship. And one of them is called the kitchen god. Now the kitchen god stays in the kitchen. So it is like a little god, and with a little bit of incense burner and all that, and it's under some shelf, against the wall, and it's on the floor. It doesn't have a very elevated position. I don't know why, but it's on some corner in some floor. And this kitchen god, tradition says that the kitchen god would, during Chinese New Year, bring a report to the Jade Emperor in heaven and talk about the bad things that a family has done through the past year. So what happened is, in order to seal the lips of this kitchen god that he will not bring bad reports about the family would make the sticky cake. Can you see the brown sticky cake? It's actually sticky. It's made of glutinous rice. And they would offer this brown sticky cake to the kitchen god as food. Why? In the hope that it will seal his lips and he can't open it to say anything that's bad. So that is a myth. It's kind of interesting. But today, a lot of Chinese still eat this sticky cake for Chinese New Year as just part of the food. And on the right side, what it is we cut it into pieces, and then we fry them we deep fry them, or we just stir fry them with in oil, in flour batter, and it comes out crispy on the outside and melts in your mouth on the inside. That's what it is. So this is one of the traditional foods of Chinese New Year. And on the 15th day, the last day that Chinese New Year is celebrated, we eat something called the Tang Yuan. The Tang Yuan is basically, it's in soup, and yuan means round. So can you see these little balls on the left side? They're colorful. You can make them in all kinds of color. They're eaten on the 15th day, the last day of Chinese New Year. And again, round means reunion, complete, prosperity, wellness. So some Chinese in the south of China would not put anything on the inside. They would just make it out of a sticky glutinous rice and just make them into balls and maybe of different colors. And the soup would be sweet. They'll add sugar to it and maybe slices of ginger. But the north of China, they actually put filling inside. Can you see on the right side, the picture? That is actually black sesame seed paste on the inside. And they can put peanuts, they put black sesame, they put red beans, different coconut, different types of filling. It's actually pretty delicious. So this is what normally is eaten on the 15th day of the Chinese New Year. So these are some of the traditions I'd like to share with everyone. I hope you enjoyed that.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
Oh, I just had a question. The sticky cake, is that sweet and good?
That's a very good question. People from the south of China eat it sweet. People from the north eat it savory. So my ancestors were from the south of China. So when I grew up until now, I prefer the sweet one.
It looked good.
It's pretty good. It's like glutinous rice. If you do it well, it melts in your mouth. Yes.
In one of the pictures of the sweet of dessert kind of things, there were 12 different dishes of different items. Does that have any symbolism or relationship to the zodiac or the symbols of the Chinese, of the animals?
That's a very good question. So there was it 12? 4, 8?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The 12 bowls of sweet candies, right? I don't think so. I just happened to find that picture on Google. Like when I was growing up, it all depends on how much goodies you bought for in a family. So if we have lots of stuff, we would have containers to put all the stuff. So I don't think it is representative of the zodiac, but that's a very good thought and observation.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Pastor Lily? No? And so Tenzin, can you tell us a little bit about, since you are a fan of the Lantern Festival, can you tell us a little bit about the Lantern Festival?
It's like also like it's part of the Lunar New Year traditions, but it also has like you do different things on that day, and basically you light up lanterns, and there's also like lantern riddles on them, and like if you solve the riddle from like the creator of the lantern, you can get a prize. And you spend time with your family that day, and you set firecrackers up. Yeah, that's all I can remember from the top of my head.
Oh, no, thank you. That was excellent. Thank you so much. And so now I would like to turn things over to Miss Nana Andrea, who will talk about her life or time in Taiwan.
Okay, I went for a master's in, I have a master's in Chinese studies with a minor in Japanese. And at the time, we were not allowed, most Americans were not allowed to go to the mainland China. So what we did, we went to Taiwan, which at that time was called Republic of China, and the mainland was People's Republic. And I went to teach English at a liberal arts college and at an engineering school. And at the engineering school, I also taught conversational Spanish at the time. And it changed my life, living in a place that was so totally foreign for almost a year. My Chinese got much better, which helped a lot on my comprehensive exam. I just learned a lot. I learned how to laugh. I learned how they would say "male guanxi," or they would say things to me like, what are you worried about? It's not, no matter what it was, it was the attitude slowed me down because I was a native New Yorker and everything was fast for me. And there I learned how to slow down. I enjoyed the students. I had over 300 and some students between the two schools. And I was so successful at the liberal arts college, they offered me a position because the English majors that were sophomores, my students spoke better English sometimes than the seniors. And, but I decided, my daughter at the time was 4.5 to 5.5. My daughter's Whitney Battle Baptiste, and she thought she was Chinese because she spoke fluent Chinese because I put her in a Chinese school. I couldn't afford the American school. And so I was a celebrity in my neighborhood. They said, that girl, she goes to Chinese school, not to the American school. She goes to the Chinese school. And I was like, yeah, she does. And she learned, just like the other kids who spoke Taiwanese, they taught them Mandarin in the school because that was the official language of Taiwan. And it was wonderful. It was, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how you can survive and what people do. And I found the Chinese, they taught me more than I think I taught them. And I even was on television a couple of times because they did a dance with mothers and daughters, and I was the only non-Chinese on there. So they kept featuring my daughter and I. And I just really, truly enjoyed the experience on a daily basis, catching a bus, and then the bus stopped and waited for me one time. So I knew I had arrived in my neighborhood. And just learning it was just so many interesting things. And I noticed that people were just wonderful. They really were. I mean, we had, they wouldn't fight you on things. They would just say, calm down, it's okay, everything is fine. And it was. And, I would recommend staying in another country because it does change how you look at everything, and how when you become the foreigner, you begin to really, and I think it did show up because when I was working in Manhattan, strange people from Greece and all kinds of places would come to me, and there were people like, why are they asking you? Because she'll stand there and draw a map and try to explain, because I know what it's like to go to a country and not remember how to say, where's the bathroom? Or something like that, where they would give me a chair. And I was like, no. So I had to learn how to put the characters and bring them with me until I was able to say them. Because in Chinese, Mandarin is even easier. There are only 4 tones, but if you mess up the tone, you change the word. So it was a wonderful experience and a good learning experience. And it helped me as I moved on and finished my master's, so.
Excellent.
That's it.
That's so fascinating. Does anyone have any questions for Nana Andrea? Jennifer?
Does your daughter remember any of the Chinese, or was she able to keep it up?
Well, I took her to Chinese school the first year on Saturdays in Queens. But I keep telling her, you were under 6, you could go back, you'll learn it all, it'll come back to you. So she's resistant now, but I think she became an archaeologist because it's different. I believe that.
That's probably true.
She functioned very well. She learned Chinese very quickly, as children do. And, she was fluent and she sounded like the Chinese there. So when we get she would say something and the taxi driver would look around and say, that was not a Chinese girl that got in the, so she was very comfortable though. She was much more comfortable the first couple of months than I was.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Children are so resilient.
So we're
And-
adults when you have no choice. You know,
Yeah.
to learn the language. That's why I said go to someplace. And you know, when I went shopping, I could hear them talking, you know, make order in, lie, 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 you know, here comes the American. I was like, you know, y'all think, yo, I understand you, you know, well done, you know. They would just say, here she comes, you know. And I was like, okay, I was watched a lot at the beginning, and eventually I became part of the community. So it was all right. It was good. It was a good learning experience.
It's wonderful. So up next, we have about a short presentation from the Worcester Youth Neon Dancers, the Lion Dance Team. Oh.
Hey everybody, my name is John from the Wind Lion Dance team. We welcome you all here today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the origin of lion dance before we show you the performance. So let's get right into the story. Once upon a time, there was a mythical creature that wandered the mountains. This creature was known to be scary, fearful, and wreaked havoc on everything it stumbled upon. Eventually, this monster stumbled upon some villagers as they were just resting in their homes. It continued to terrorize them and scare them, and eventually they ran away. Even after they ran away, this monster continued to wreak havoc, to wander around, and just destroy everything in his way. Eventually, the villagers had enough. They decided to fight back. And with this, they created their own creature. Lion dance, they smacked pots and pans to scare away the monster. After successfully scaring away the monster, they celebrated in joy. And this created a new era of lion dance. And this, everybody, is what lion dance is today. Thank you, guys.
Okay. So many traditions, and I honestly can't wait till we can do this in person so we can connect with the different colleges who do lion dances and other traditional celebrations. And we can all kind of work together to have something fabulous here in the town of Amherst. And so I'm just going to And so we are wishing you strength and luck in the year of the tiger. And of course, I always have just one more video to show because I don't know if you know me, that we're on Zoom, got to make it interesting somehow. So graceful. so graceful. And I'm hoping that some of that energy comes and brings some nice weather for us. Makes it a little warmer as we go into spring here. So I appreciate everyone for coming out. And Tenzin, thank you so much. I'd love to see our youth get involved. And it took a lot of courage to be a middle schooler to come up here and share what you've learned in school. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Ms.
you,
I hope you
Moynihan.
all learned a lot.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, good night.
Bye.